Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be breaking down the process of taming Virginia, showing you every interaction between the start of a new game and the point where Virginia becomes an actual companion that you can equip with weapons, clothing and a GPS tracker. After that, as an added bonus, I'm also going to be showing you where you can find each and every item of clothing for Virginia. In fact, the first item of clothing, Virginia's camouflage suit, is just over here in that red kayak, so let's grab that now. You'll also find the binoculars on the same kayak. I think I'm going to build my base right here in this sandy bay as it's quite a nice location. I know there's a fresh water pond nearby that I can use for drinking water. Also, there are a lot of resource boxes close by. I start work on a modest 3x2 log cabin. Hopefully that way I can get the walls finished by nightfall so that I can enjoy a good night's sleep. Around dusk on the first day, just as I'm about halfway through constructing my walls, we get our first sighting of Virginia. She doesn't approach the camp or get too close, she just stands out in the open and watches as I go about building my base. Once the walls were high enough, I added a wall planter to my base and planted blueberries. I know that Virginia absolutely loves blueberries, so I'm hoping that the blueberry planter will cause Virginia to visit more frequently than normal. If it works, it should mean that Virginia spends more time around me than she normally would at this stage of the game, which should result in faster trust gains. After a good night's sleep in my cozy beach shack, the first thing I do is to check on my blueberry planter. I'm surprised to see that the plant has grown overnight from a seed to a mature fruit-bearing blueberry bush. After marvelling at my mythical horticultural prowess, I go about adding a roof to my base to protect me from the elements. With the roof on my beach shack almost complete, after laying some of the last few tiles, I climb off the roof to grab more logs, and guess who's come to visit? But the question is, has Virginia come to visit me, or is she more interested in my plump and delicious blueberries? After raising her hands to show that she doesn't pose a threat, Virginia backs off a little bit and then performs a little dance for us. I'm convinced that Virginia was actually visiting to eat blueberries rather than to interact with me, because I was up on the roof when she approached. But since I interrupted her, the visit turned into a trust-building interaction, which is fairly solid evidence that blueberry bush planters can help speed up the process of getting Virginia as a companion. This visit occurred at dusk on day 2, so on the first day we had our initial visit around dusk, but Virginia was very wary. She stayed off in the distance and didn't seem confident enough to approach. Then at dusk on the second day, not only has Virginia gained the confidence to approach my camp, she's also interacted with me and performed a little dance. On day 3 I wake up just before 8 AM and Virginia's right outside my log cabin when I go outside. I think my sudden appearance has startled her because she backs off a little. It's clear at this stage that although she no longer sees me as an outright threat, she doesn't fully trust me either. With work on my beach shack almost complete, I grab a few logs and begin filling in the gable ends to complete my roof. Since patch 1, logs are now automatically trimmed to the right length when you use them to fill a triangle. This makes the process a lot easier than it used to be. Virginia is still hanging around my camp, and as I tidy up some of the offcuts of wood, she begins to approach before backing off and making a non-threatening gesture. I'm stood right next to my blueberry planter, so again I think she was approaching in order to eat blueberries rather than to interact, but for the second time we managed to turn that approach into a trust-building interaction. After adding a few more logs to my gable ends, I notice that Virginia's approaching again, so this time I decide to back off a little and see whether she approaches me or if it's those plump and delectable blueberries that she's really interested in. And I think we have our answer, because as soon as she feels safe to approach, she's on those blueberries in a flash. Unfortunately, shortly after that visit, disaster strikes. As I fit the last few logs to my gable, the unthinkable happens when one of the offcuts falls from the roof and totally wipes out my blueberry bush. Around midday, Virginia visits for the second time on day 3 and she goes straight for the blueberry planter. Although I replaced the destroyed bush with a fresh blueberry seed, the seed hasn't yet sprouted, let alone grown any fruit. Interestingly, Virginia still approaches the planter and is able to eat. I'm not sure if Virginia is eating blueberries from the floor where the old bush landed when it got destroyed, or whether Virginia simply knows that the planter currently contains a blueberry seed but doesn't know what stage of growth the plant's at. Either way, after eating, Virginia sits down and gives herself a quick foot massage before wandering off again. At dusk on day 3, we receive another visit from Virginia. She has nothing in her hand, so I can already tell that she's not yet ready to bond. At first she heads directly towards me, but then she turns and heads for the blueberry planter. After eating, Virginia performs another dance for us before disappearing into the forest. It's now early morning on day 4, and as I gather sticks to make a birdhouse, Virginia approaches. She's carrying what looks like a bunch of red berries. Right before Virginia bonds with you, she'll bring you a gift, but I don't think that's what's happening here, because in previous playthroughs, she's always given me aloe vera and not red berries. Virginia walks behind a tree and crouches down. Now ordinarily I'd never approach a young lady who is crouching down behind a tree, but since I don't see any steam, I think she's probably just hiding. As I approach, something appears to startle her, as she looks over her shoulder and then runs away. I check behind the tree, but Virginia has not left the berry she was carrying as a gift. Moments later I discover what scared Virginia off. It's a female cannibal. After gathering a few more sticks, I head back to my base to finish building my birdhouses. As I add the last few sticks, Virginia approaches, but I seem to startle her when I turn around holding my axe and she backs off before running away. I head down to the waterline to give her a bit of space and allow her to get to the berries. She quickly returns and takes full advantage of the complimentary all-you-can-eat blueberry buffet. After she finishes eating, Virginia runs around the beach a couple of times, getting close to me on the first lap, and then interacting with me on the second lap with another non-threatening gesture. Every time she's used this gesture in the past, she's just backed off, made the gesture, and then left. This time though, after backing off and making the gesture, she approaches again and repeats it. It's as though she's trying to reinforce the fact that she doesn't mean any harm. I think this could be a sign that indicates we're finally getting close to the stage where Virginia will bond with us and become our companion. Around midday on day 4 I spot Virginia again. It looks like she's managed to get herself stuck between my birdhouses and the blueberry planter, as she's just walking on the spot. I leave her to it and head to the freshwater pond to grab a drink. After I finish drinking, I notice Virginia approaching. I'm not sure whether she's come to see me or whether she's just approaching the pond to get a drink for herself. I had previously noticed that every time Virginia had interacted with me, it had been when I'd been holding the binoculars and not the axe. I was wondering if it was the axe that had been causing her to turn and run away. This time though, even though I had the binoculars equipped, she still turned and ran, so I'm not convinced that it matters what item you have equipped as long as you don't actually attack her. Day 5 is off to a wet and windy start, and as I gather sticks and stones in a thunderstorm for arrow crafting, Virginia approaches carrying some salmon berries. She approaches as though she's going to give me the berries, but then backs off. Her leg movement when she backs off is very similar to how she shuffles backwards when she makes her non-threatening gesture. And I think that what we're seeing here is an alt version of that same gesture, which she uses when her hands are full. I follow her towards the freshwater pond, and she approaches again before interacting for the second time with the same backwards shuffle. After this I head back to my base, and Virginia approaches still carrying the bunch of salmon berries. She does the backwards shuffle for a third time. It's still early morning on day 5, and we've already had 3 interactions with Virginia. I think at this point it's clear that Virginia is beginning to trust us and is close to bonding. Around midday on day 5 the thunderstorm has cleared up and Virginia's back again. This time she doesn't seem to feel threatened by my presence, and she wanders around a bit before gorging herself on my plump and delicious homegrown blueberries. After she finishes eating, Virginia gestures me to follow her. This is great because as long as you actually notice a gesture and follow her to what she wants to show you, she'll bring you a gift immediately afterwards and the bonding process is then complete. I follow her down to the shoreline and manage to line up my camera to get a decent idea of where she's pointing, but despite this I'm still not sure exactly what she's pointing at. After searching around for a while, despite the fact that I haven't found anything more exciting than a stick, Virginia approaches again, and this time she's carrying aloe vera. Once Virginia has given you a gift, she is bonded to you and is now your companion. A backpack icon will now appear above Virginia when you approach her. This indicates that you can now equip her with clothing, a GPS tracker, a pistol and a shotgun. Let's give her the camouflage suit that I looted at the start of the video. In addition to the camouflage suit, there's also a dress that Virginia can wear. It can be found inside the food bunker at this location. You'll find the dress on a seat inside the mini-boss fight room. You'll need the maintenance keycard in order to gain access to the flooded area of the bunker. Then inside the flooded area, you'll find the VIP keycard in the security office, which is needed to access the mini-boss fight room. The tracksuit can be found in the bunker at this location. You'll need the maintenance keycard in order to gain access to the gym area of the bunker, where the tracksuit can be found on a weight bench. The leather suit can be found at a helicopter crash site at this location, just east of the lake and parallel to the island.